Hello guys, it's that time of the week again. It is time for another Jedi Mantis Tastes. And today we're going to be trying, as I said last week, the GlenDronach Revival 15-year-old. We'll go through a little bit of the history first, as we try to do. It is a Highland whisky. It is one from the Highland region, as you can see in the map around here somewhere. They've been crafting sherried single malts for nearly 200 years. And was founded in 1826 by James Allardyce, and was one of the first licensed distilleries within Scotland. And originally, all of the workers and their families lived on site at the distillery. And to this day, many of the old houses still remain. The most famous of those houses being Glen House, which was originally Boyne's Mill, but it was renamed by Allardyce when the distillery was built. Also interestingly, rumour has it that the front room of the Georgian building, Glen House, is haunted by a Spanish lady who travelled over to Scotland in a sherry cask. Obviously they obviously buy in the sherry casks for making the whisky. I don't have the full story on how the Spanish lady got in the whiskey, or in the cask, but I'm guessing she died in there. So sad story, but interesting. If you go and visit, look out for the Spanish lady. Rumour has it that she apparently still enjoys a nice little tipple of whiskey every now and then. Which is odd, because she would probably have been drinking the sherry, not the whiskey. But yes, so the actual distillery was founded in 1826. Glen House was built in 1771. And through the 1860s, GlenDronach was the largest duty-paying distillery in the Scottish Highlands, and with having over 50 people living on the site at that time. As I say, that was the workers and all of their families. Jumping forward to 1920, Captain Charles Grant bought the distillery, and he was the son of the founder, and he was buying it back from Walter Scott, who had acquired it in 1830, so bringing it back to the family. But then in 1960, William Teacher and Sons purchased the distillery. But they also then, when they got hold of it, they expanded the number of stills used in the distillery from 2 to 4. And they continued making the whisky. Big jump forward to the next piece of interesting notes is 1996, where GlenDronach was actually mothballed for a number of years. And mothballing, this means that the building was shut down, but it was kept in good condition so that at a moment's notice they could start producing the whisky and start using the building again. In 2002, that's when that happened. The distillery was reopened and GlenDronach was once again in full production. Then in 2005, the distillery was passed to the Shivers brothers, and they converted the distillery to steam heating. GlenDronach had been one of the last distilleries still heating their stills through coal fire. So Shivers Brothers came in, modernised the things a little bit by bringing in the steam heating, much cleaner way of heating the stills. But then in 2008, GlenDronach taken over again by the Ben Riach distillery. I don't know if I'm saying that right, I apologise if I've destroyed that word. Ben Riach Distillery Company Limited, and then in 2015 the GlenDronach Distillery Company was named Global Whisky Distiller of the Year at the Icons of Whisky Awards. A little bit of history there, you can see. I do actually want to go back and touch on the founder, James Allardyce. I did looking into the history of it. I found an interesting story, and I'm going to read this because I want to get this right. This is from the glendronach.co.uk website, glendronachdistillery.co.uk website, and it's a little bit of a story just about James Allardyce. So bear with me while I read this because it is quite an interesting story as to how GlenDronach came about. So, hidden in the valley of the Fog, deep within the Scottish Highlands, a plume of smoke ascends from the chimney of a grand country house, Glen House. As I say, it was Boyne's Mill at the time. The smell of peat from a large crackling fire fills the drawing room, and there sits James Allardyce, feet up, with a dram of whisky that he had spent quite some time making. He was feeling quite cheery with the results of his new creation, which he had decided to call GlenDronach. His next challenge was to sell his stock. So there he sat, pondering on what would be his best plan. James was up with the birds the following morning and set out with a spring in his step for the capital, with a large barrel and a flagon in tow. But on arrival in Edinburgh, he discovered that selling GlenDronach was going to be trickier than he first thought. "We already have our stock for the season," the landlords all said, "but we'll bear you in mind for next year." After only selling a trickle, a disheartened Allardyce wanders back to his hotel ready to admit defeat, but walking up the Cannon Gate he is accosted by two young ladies of the night who want him to take them for a drink. James tells the women that he has his very own, and I'm going to apologise again for the pronunciation of this, Guide GlenDronach, Guid, whisky that they can sup on. And so he returns to his hotel room, to the mortification of the hotel staff, with the two ladies on each arm. The following day, word of mouth spread like wildfire about the previous night's shenanigans, and the two women return for another bottle of GlenDronach to share with their friends. James had pretty much given up on his abortive sales drive in Edinburgh and had planned to return home, so he gave the women the remainder of his flagon. Later that afternoon, the street was full of women who had consumed one drop too many. This got the neighbourhood talking about, and everyone became curious to try some of what the ladies were drinking. So they started requesting GlenDronach by name, and when they went into their local pubs, as the story goes, James did not return home as planned for the following day. Instead, he stayed a while in Edinburgh, where he sold all of his stock. Not long after, bottles could be found in every pub along the Royal Mile. GlenDronach had arrived. No, so I just think that was an interesting story. If it's true, that's as it says, as the story goes. Very interesting, little bit of humour in there with the ladies of the night and what have you. Just thought that was interesting to share with you before moving on to the main event, the whisky, the GlenDronach, the Revival. So it is the GlenDronach 15-year-old Revival, and it marked the release of whisky under the new distillery ownership after the mothballing. It's matured in Spanish Oloroso sherry casks and was awarded a silver medal at the 2009 Malt Maniacs Awards. So let's get on with this and let us get this bottle out. So you can see I've had a fair bit out of this. I've had this a while now, but here we go. I'll get a bit of light on here so you can see the label if you can. GlenDronach Revival 15 year. You can see it's quite dark. So we'll get our Glencairn glass. We'll pop the cork because it is a corked bottle. Not much pop left there because there's not much whiskey left in this, and we'll pour a measure out. So there we go. That's in there, and as we done last week, we'll look at the colour in that now before before we add the water. So you can see, looking at the whiskey, it's very dark, very deep, rich amber colour. It's like really rich honey, almost sort of mahogany colour tone to it. Very compact without the water. So we're going to add a little bit of water just to thin out those flavours, to try and break into them. So we're just a tiny drop in here. That'll do. Interestingly, it is 46%, this one. So a little bit more than what you'd find in a standard malt. We'll give that a swirl around and go in. Very rich flavours in there. Slight smell of fruit on the edge, orangey almost. With a hint of chocolate. A little hint of vanilla on the edge as well. Almost nutty. Smells amazing. You could sit and smell that for a long time and still pick things out. So let's have a taste. That's very different with the water. It's the first time I've had it with water. It's very full-bodied. Swirling it around all the parts of the mouth, all over the tongue. Every part of the tongue getting a taste. I still get those hints of chocolate, that little hint of coffee. A little bit of spice and fire on the tongue at the end. But not a burn. Certainly not with the water. Beautiful whiskey. So full of flavour. Even with the water in, it's quite a thick whiskey, this one. Taste that sherry. Definitely got the strong tones of sherry on the nose and on the taste. Yeah, there's nothing to dislike about that whiskey. Absolutely nothing. I'm going to try a little bit without the water. And I'm only having a little bit. Literally a little bit. Because I want to keep this for as long as I can. You'll find out why later. I'll pop that away now. Just pop this lid on. Let's try it without the water. Obviously some residual water in the glass. Oh, that is good. That is so different. Without, that's how you want to drink that one. No water, just neat. Silky smoothness to that. Goes down, warms the throat, but it's not overpowering. Warming the back of the tongue now. So nice. See that sherry flavour coming through there as well. Absolutely outstanding whiskey. Lucky to have it, because it is now, I believe, discontinued. Some places do still have it. I was able to get it on a Black Friday deal last year. I did look to see if it is available through the website. I got it. It is not any longer. It is sold out. That was through the Whisky Exchange. But I have found it. If you do want to try it, it is a commitment to buying it, but it is for sale at selectwhiskies.com. And it is £145.99 a bottle. That's I assume purely down to it's down to the fact that it's discontinued and just how nice it is, because it is an absolutely amazing whiskey. A pleasure to taste that one. I'm going to try and keep it as long as I can. Keep that one for a really special occasion. So like a birthday drink, a Christmas drink, a New Year's drink, a celebration drink. That's what that one is. That's not a one to have every night, because you just can't get a hold of it. Well, you can, but it's fairly expensive. Not as expensive as some whiskies, but not many of us, I don't think, are going to go out and spend £146 on a bottle of whiskey. I certainly didn't. I waited till it was on the Black Friday. Still paid more than what it was going for when it was originally out, but purchase well worth it. It's a beautiful whiskey. I can't give it more praise than that. There's not words to describe it. For me, that is a really, really nice whiskey, and it's a one I will miss it when it's gone, because I don't think I'll be getting another bottle, unless they have it on Black Friday this year. So that was GlenDronach. Thank you very much for watching. Next week we might do, I've got a little sample bottle here of the Ardmore, so that's what we'll do next week. So tune in then. That'll be it might be Thursday next week, because I'm going away Friday, so I might try and get that one up on Thursday. So look out for that. If it doesn't go up Thursday, it'll go up Saturday. That's another Highland whiskey, heads up. But that was GlenDronach 15-Year Old Revival. Absolutely amazing. If you can afford it, I would recommend it. Absolutely recommend it. It is a beautiful whiskey. So syrupy on the tongue, a thick liquid, absolutely beautiful flavours. The sherry, the chocolate, the coffee, all works together. As I say, you could sit and sip that all night and discover something new about it each time you tried it. So it's worth the money, but it's a one to keep. So that was GlenDronach. Thank you very much, guys. I've very much enjoyed doing this one. Very much enjoyed researching into the distillery, the founder, Allardyce, and his hookers. Join me next week and we'll have another one. Thanks a lot, guys. Hit that like button if you enjoyed the video. Subscribe to the channel. You'll get all of my whiskey videos on time then if you hit that little bell icon as well. And find me on Twitter at the Jedi Mantis. I may start doing polls on there just to see what you want me to try next. Thanks for joining me. See you next time, guys. Thanks a lot. Bye.